Hello everyone. Today we are going to create a project, a very simple project, a simple chat app with GUI. We would be using sockets, and for the GUI, we will be using Tkinter. So let's get started. So for this project, we have to create two files: server file and client file. Let's first see what we have to include in the server file. First, we have imported socket and we have imported threading, just so that we can use the thread module. I've made a host with the common IP address 127.0.0.1, and I've choose this port 1990. We can choose any port 12345 5555 or 1990 or 7777, anything that you like. So I've chosen 1990. Then we have created the socket by server is equal to socket.socket.afinet socket.sockstream. This I've included from the original docs of socket. You can easily find there. This is how we create a socket. Then I have binded the socket by creating a tuple of host and port. This host and port. Now comes the part of socket listening. This is how we listen to the socket server.listen, and in the bracket I have written three. What this three means? This three means I want three clients to be connected max to max. I don't want more clients to be connected. Okay. So here we have made a clients array and a names array, so that whenever a client come, it would make a list of all the clients, and the names array would make a list of their names. So here comes the part of broadcasting. So I have created a broadcast function that contains a message, and then I've used a for loop for client in clients. For one client in whole clients array, client will send this message, and the message would be that client would write. Then comes the part of handling. So I have created a function handle which will handle the client. We have included a whole set of code in the while loop because again we want to run it. We want to run this code again and again. So I have included this whole code in while loop, and I have used try and accept. Let me tell you something about try and accept. When we use try and accept, we always try that code unless something executes what we have written in accept. So what we will be executing most of the time would be this code. But if condition is like when a client itself closes its window, then we would run this except code. So let me explain this in detail. In try, I've written message is equal to client.receive 1024. So I have just received the message from the client in this message variable. So why I have written receive 1024? Because the message I have received is in 1024 data bytes. Okay. Then I've printed uh, then I've printed using the f string that this clients.index of client, that this client says this message, and then I have broadcasted the message. This code will run again and again, except if a client removes itself from the chat by either clicking on the close button of the window or by either just disconnecting. So I have written clients not remove client. It will remove the client from the clients array or the clients list, and then that client would be closed. Similarly, for the names, I have removed its name from the names array or list. Then I have used break to break out from this array, uh, break out from this loop. Then comes our receive function. Again, I've uh, included this whole set of code in the while loop, because I want to run this code again and again. So here we have accepted. Here we are doing socket accept by entering client and its address, and then I've printed using f string connected with this address, and I have converted this address into string. That's why I've written str. Then I have sent client Nick by encoding it in UTF-8 format. Why I've sent it is Nick, because in case, just in default case, if something malicious happen, so this would be the default case. Okay, so after sending what I have received, the name of client is stored in this name. And you know what this 1024 means here. Then I have append. So what does append means? Append will shift this name in the names array in the to the last of this names array. So let's say A comes to the chat, then the name of the A will get stored in the array names array in the last position. Same goes with clients dot append client. Then I've printed using a string the name of the client, and then I've broadcasted his name to the server by encoding, of course. And then I've sent it to the client that you are connected to the server. Then, of course, we have used the thread by using thread is equal to threading.thread target handle. This handle is nothing but this function, so that we can handle the client comma args equal to client comma nothing. So you would say, why there is nothing here after the comma? Because what we have when we use arguments, we have to create a tuple, and to create a tuple, we use two things. We can't create a tuple with one variable. That's why I've used the comma. So client comma nothing. So here comes to the end of every function that we have to make for the server. Now I've printed server running, and now I've used the function receive. So whenever I will be running the server, you will see that first thing that comes is server running, and then it will receive, and by that it will call everything. Like here it is calling handle function. So handle is here, and it is also calling broadcast. Let me see. Yes, here it is calling broadcast. So this way every function gets in use. Now let's go to client file. Here I've imported socket threading take enter for the GUI. From tkinter.constant I've imported disabled. I could have also used disabled in this manner, but then again I've imported disabled as a constant. And I've imported scroll text so that we can scroll our chat, and simple dialogue, so that a dialogue appears asking for your name, everything like that. Here comes the host and port that we wish to connect, host and port of server. So these are just the colors, hex code of colors and font that I've used in this GUI. So background color is having this hex code. One color is having this hex code. The text color is having this hex code. The font is Helvetica 14. Bold font is Helvetica 13 bold. So I have created a class client so that it could be in a proper way. Then I've created a function in it that will initialize self, host, and port. So first of all, I've again created a socket with the name self.sock, which is equal to socket.socket, socket.afinet, socket.sockstream. Afinet means it is just a constant which is address family, and this you can find it on the official docs. Then we have connected it to the host and port, this host and this port. Then I have created a chat window with the help of message is equal to tkinter.tk. Then I have used the withdraw function. Then uh, I've created a dialog box with using simple dialog, which will ask for your name. So self.name is equal to simple dialog dot ask string. Please choose a nickname. Then I've done self.gui done is equal to false. Why I've made it false? Because I want to create GUI myself, and I don't want anything unless I command in the GUI. So I've created it first false. This is not the best practice, but for this code I've used it. and self.running is equal to true because we want it to run, of course, so I've made it true. Then again, I have created thread, two threads, GUI thread and receive thread, by targeting self.gui loop and receive. So GUI loop is here, this function is here, and receive function is here. We will come to that later in the explanation part. So first see GUI loop function. So I've created a window of tkinter by using self.when is equal to tkinter.tk brackets. And the title of that whole window is chat, and width and height is false because I want to set width and height myself. And then I've configured width and height and the background color of that window. Then I've created head label by using takeInter.label self.window. Win here stands for window, with background color this, font color this, text this, font with font bold, which is Helvetica 13 bold, and uh, you can say vertical padding 10. Then I've set its relative width to the 1. So this is a head label which will say welcome. Then I've created a tiny divider which has a width of 450 and the background color of this hex code, background color of this hex code, and it has relative width 1, distance from y-axis 0.07, and relative height 0.012. Then I've created a text area. So this text area will show our whole chat with another client. So whatever we will do, we will send the message and receive message. It will be get displayed in this text area. So I've created self.text area with width of 20, height 2, background color this, font color this, font this, horizontal and vertical padding 5. And the relative height is 0.745, relative width is 1, and distance from y-axis is 0.08. Then I've configured some settings that whenever I move my cursor inside that area, my cursor should change to arrow and the state should be disabled. Means state disabled means I couldn't select anything inside that. Then I've created a scroll bar so that we can of course scroll up and down through whole chat. So scroll bar I've created by takeInter.scrollbar self.text area. Of course, I want scroll bar near my text area, and then relative height 1, and distance from x-axis relative distance from x-axis 0.974. And then I've configured a setting. I've given it a command that self.text area dot yview. Why yview? Because again we want scroll bar to function in the y-axis, just like this scroll bar. We can move when we move it up, then the whole chat goes up, and when we move it down, the whole chat goes down. So that's why I've used dot yview. Then I've made a bottom label again so that it can separate up and down uh, with this background color height 80 and relative width 1. Then comes our message entry box. Here we will write our message that we want to send to another client. So I have created it below bottom label with background color this hex code, and with this font color and this font. Its relative width is 0.74, relative height is 0.06, relative distance from y and x-axis is this. And I've used this focus. So you may think why I've used this focus. So what this thing does is whenever I will whenever a client will enter its name, and whenever the whole window will appear in front of him, already my cursor would be in the message entry box. So I don't have to use my mouse to get my cursor to the message entry box. I just have to type my message and click send, and it will send the message. That's why I've used dot focus. And then I have bind it by with the help of this write function, which I have uh, wrote here, which we will discuss later. Now comes the input area. So this input area is just like the JavaScript of any web page. Uh, for the functioning of this message entry box, I have made this two line of code uh, which will act in this self.message entry, means this message entry box, and it has relative width of 0.98, height 0.93, 0.008, and relative uh, distance with x-axis 0.011. So this input area will bring our cursor to the message entry box so that we can type a message. And then I've created the final thing, send button. So I've created this send button with the help of take enter button below the bottom label with the text send, with the font this, width 20, background color this, and command self dot write. Write is the function that we have done. I have wrote here, and you can see the height, width, etc. Now what I've done is self dot GUI done. I have made it true. If you see here, I've made it false so that I could write my code for this GUI. Now I've written my code for GUI, I've made it true. And self.windows protocol, WM delete window, self.soft. So what does this line of code means? If by chance client clicks on the wrong button of that window, then this whole process will stop for that client. Just this. This is the meaning of this line of code. Then I've written self.win.main loop. Now let's see what I have written in the write function. So in the write function, I have get the message from the input area. So the message is what we have written in the input area, and that I have uh, I have received it using this get variable from starting to the end, and then I have sent the message that I have written by encoding it, and then I have cleared the input area by using delete. So what happens if I have written some message and then I've clicked on send button. So whatever previous message that I've written would get cleared from the input area, so that I don't have to use backspace to clear it. So this is the use of this delete function, delete variable. Then I've created a stop function which will stop when the self.running would become false. So if tkinter window is not running, it for any case, if tkinter window doesn't run, then the windows will destroy itself, the socket will get closed, and it will get exit from the loop, from the function. And here comes the most important function, receive function. So while self.running, uh, uh, I doesn't have to mention that self.running here is true, because this is how we write the code. So while self.running is true, we will try this code. We will try this code. First, we will try this code. If message is equal to, first we will receive the message by decoding it, and then we will store the message in this message variable. If message is equal to Nick, then we will send the name of the uh, client. Then we will send the name of the client by encoding it. Else, this line of code is the most will be the most used code here in receiving function. Else, self.gui done whenever it will be true, the configuration of the text here would be normal. We will insert the message in the end, and the vertical view would also be end, and configuration would also be disabled. except 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 when the connection aborted error comes. This means connection is aborted. For any case, if the connection gets aborted, for example, user clicks on the wrong button of that window, or just user gets disconnected, or the client gets disconnected, so it will break from the loop. And we have used again an except for any case if there is something another error, another than connection aborted error, then it will print error. It will close the socket and it will break out from the try except loop, try except, and then from further from the while loop. So here comes the end of our whole coding of every function. Now we have just called the client through client host port, and this host and port are the uh, host and port of the server, which we have mentioned here. Okay, so let's run a code. So first we will run our server. So server running is coming, that I've mentioned that first server running will come and then it will receive everything. Now we will run the client file. So I'm running for the first client. So he's saying, please choose a nickname. Okay. So I have entered the nickname Pratham. So here our chat window appears. Now again, I have to make another client. So I will make another client with the name, let's say Sham. Okay. So here comes our two window for the two clients, Pratham and Sham. So you can see our first client was Pratham. So this was a window of Pratham. So as and when Sham connected to the server, Pratham got the notification that Sham connected to the server. Now I can say, hello, Sham, and I will click on send button, and he gets a message, hello, Sham. So again, he would greet me, hello, Pratham, and I will send this, and I get from Sham, hello Pratham. I also can see that I have also sent him hello Sham message. So this is a text area that we have talked in the client file. So I can say again, what are you doing? Just testing a project. So this was a very easy project, I guess. Uh, it The server file was pretty simple, and client file was also pretty simple. So if you like this video, then you can of course like below and you can subscribe. And if you could share it, then it would be great. Thank you.